spring greens. Different seed producers or providers, gave us the mixes to try. We drilled them in just like a corduroy field, so each strip had their own individual treatment. And that is your no-till drill. That's a small 7-foot version. They get fairly expensive. You can get them, I don't know how wide they will go, but this works good for the volume that I'm putting on this field. But we're checking the depth. A lot of this stuff, has to be at a certain depth for it to respond well. That's what the hay field looked like after it was hit with Roundup. So you see we had excellent burn down to allow for this new crop coming. That's what it looked like coming up, and the real broadleaf there is a brassica. That is a tillage radish that really opens up the ground to open it up where it gets moisture and air, the subsoil. We didn't get much rain. We had enough rain to germinate it, not enough to keep it growing, so it looked pretty poor there for a while. But we had rain in October, and it came on. This is November 2nd. We had this little pasture walk to look at the different treatments and which one provided the most forage for that time of year. That's one of the radishes. And the cattle will eat the tops of them. They have started eating a little bit of the bulb, but not a whole lot. But what that bulb does, you see the roots that go below it. And feeder roots go down maybe as much as 3 feet. And they reach nutrients in the soil that the grasses can't reach. The grasses just don't go down that deep. And they bring those nutrients to the surface. They're in the bulbs. The bulbs dissolve over the winter, and they leave all those nice nutrients right on the surface so the grasses can use them in the spring. The pasture behind the car and truck is that is an annual rye that I've drilled into existing sod, and this is November 2nd, and you see how green that looks. Now compare that to that first slide we looked beside the pond where it was dirt. What do you think is doing the most good for that soil as far as activity in the soil and also grazing? I typically don't graze that a lot in the fall, but it's already greening up out there now, and by the 1st of April, it'll be knee-high and just lush vegetation for the cattle when the fescue is just kind of starting to get going. That was a diverse mix, and you look at the different type of leaf patterns there. This would have been in the spring. No, I'm wrong. This is November 2nd or right after that because the radishes are still going. The radishes don't winter out. They'll go until you get upper teens for a couple of nights, but they don't come back in spring. That's a one-time deal for them. The spring oats don't winter through. They provide the volume of grazing for the November grazing, but they don't come back in the spring. What does come back, the rye. The triticale is kind of a cross between oats and rye. It's a medium texture grass. That's the blade that you see probably is a triticale. The vetch is the finger-like leaf you see, and that really responds well in the spring, and I've got some pictures later. And the crimson clover, you see a little bit of that in the fall, but springtime that does a great job.
So did you have to plant these seeds?
All of that is mixed, and I get all this seed from a company out in Nebraska, and they specialize in mixing these annuals. And they put the mixes together. They tell you, what kind of rates you need to go with it. And but it comes, and I drill it all at one time. I have to pick an average depth to get it, and I calibrate the drill. And we don't have time for all of this today, I know, but to get the right rate. So I know I'm putting down so many pounds per acre, and it typically comes out pretty close if you calibrate the drill each time.
But since they're in sort of different growing cycles, this provides continuous coverage.
You keep diversity on top of the ground means diversity under the ground. And the more diversity you have, you are reaching areas at various depths, and different root types will draw in the nutrients the plants need, and it keeps it alive. Every one of these plants, when they die, they leave a channel where the roots were. So even though that plant has died, it's still providing carbon in the soil and channels for worms and different things to use. And yeah, I think that is the unknown commodity of this. I know what it does for me grazing, and it is tremendous potential what it adds to my grazing rotation. What I can't quantify is what it's doing for the soil. I know it's helping, I can't tell you how much. That's a little deceiving. I'm down on the ground taking that shot, but that's a November 2nd picture of that field beside the house. But that was up over our knees at that point, and it had caned and gone over with just a tremendous amount of forage. Typically, you know, that field would have been dormant if it had been a typical hay field.